everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be breaking down a major announcement in the NASCAR world if you guys haven't already heard about it. But before we go ahead and hop into it, we just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button, and you can also check us out on our social media pages that will be linked down below. We would greatly appreciate it if you did all of that stuff for us. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop straight into it. As always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show, and this announcement has been rumored for a long time, and it finally happened. So Matthew has a feel to be back on the show and talk about this big announcement, and also talk about Pocono this weekend.
Well, I certainly forgot that we were going to Pocono this week, and with all the talk that's been going on this week about this new street course. So I can't wait to talk about that, and man, I think we should fly out to Chicago next year and try to find a spot at downtown. Try to find a good spot to see the whole course.
Yeah, so that is the big announcement that the Chicago Street Course will be coming to life next season. But before we talk about that, I do want to talk about something really quick. Austin Cindric ended up receiving a penalty for his tire coming off on pit road this past weekend at New Hampshire, and a lot of people are confused and upset about this call because a few weeks ago, Christopher Bell had pretty much the same issue on pit road where the tire fell off, and NASCAR didn't penalize him for it, but they penalized Austin Cindric for it this week. And the only somewhat reason I would say that they did it for Austin Cindric is because the tire rolled a little bit further down pit road, but I don't know. I just think NASCAR needs to clear up this whole tire rule in general, because there's no competitive advantage if you leave a lug nut off the car, because the tire's just going to come off of the race car. So it's not like teams are trying to do this on purpose, where before, when they had 5 lug nuts, they used to try and put 3 or 4 lug nuts on the car, but they can't do that anymore. So in my opinion, they either need to get rid of the penalty completely or just make it 1 race or 2 races or something like that, because 4 races for a suspension for your crew chief, tire changer, and tire carrier is a bit too much in my opinion. So I think they should change it at least before next season, if not even when the playoffs start, because if you lose a tire during the playoffs, you're going to lose your crew chief for 4 weeks, and in my opinion that shouldn't be that much of a penalty. But anyways, I want to talk about that really quick, but let's go ahead and hop into the main announcement, which is the Chicago Street Course. So it will be happening on July 4th weekend. The announcement took place earlier this week. The main NASCAR driver that was there was Bubba Wallace, but also the main people from NASCAR were there, like Steve Phelps, Ben Kennedy. The mayor of Chicago is also there, which is really cool to see, and a lot of other people for this big-time announcement. There were a few of the next-gen race cars displayed, and I thought the announcement process went, it was very well done professionally. It looked good, all that stuff. So what were the details of it? So it will be on July 4th weekend. The IMSA cars, they'll be racing on July 1st, and the Cup Series cars will be racing on July 2nd. It was also confirmed that this will be replacing Road America on the schedule, and this is a big disappointment, honestly, in my opinion, because Road America made its debut in 2021, put on a great show. There were so many people there. Over 100,000 people showed up to Road America for July 4th weekend in 2021. The crowd in 2022 wasn't as big, but the fans still showed up. And, this disproves the quote that I'm about to say, that, quote, fans need to show up to races so that the tracks can get a date put on the schedule. And that just completely proved that statement false, because so many fans came out to Wisconsin the past few years for that race, and now it's not going to be on the schedule anymore. You look at tracks like Texas Motor Speedway, where there's so many empty seats in that crowd. Even, I'm not going to, Richmond has a lot of seats, but, some of them are empty. You can tell at most tracks that the seats are empty, so it's just frustrating that Road America got taken off the schedule, especially for those fans that came out and really showed a lot of support for this race. But on the other hand, for Chicago, this is a great way to bring racing to the current race fans who are in that city, but it's also a great way to introduce the sport to new fans, because when it's in the middle of the city, you can't really miss it. Like, it's going to be right in the middle of Chicago, so a lot of people that might not know what's going on might stop by, take a look. I'm sure that the street course will be set up a few days in advance, and it'll be up for a few days after the race too, so everybody will be wondering what's going on. They might come and check it out. So it is a great way to introduce the sport to current fans and new fans, which is good. And for me, I am a tiny bit nervous about the racing product and how it's going to perform with the next gen car on the street course, because it is a very, very narrow course. I know there's a lot of long straightaways and a lot of braking zones, so I guess that there's going to be a lot of dive bomb attempts in those corners, but I am a tiny bit nervous about the racing product. I'm kind of comparing this to when Bristol Dirt was announced. I was excited for the opportunity. I'm very glad NASCAR's trying new things, but I am a little bit nervous about the racing product. I feel like it'll kind of turn out like the Bristol Dirt race did the first time, where the racing was okay, and then if they come back, then it will improve, because this year Bristol Dirt improved tremendously compared to last year. So I feel like the inaugural race might not be the best, and it might take them a year to learn more things about it and apply it to the following year if it happens for a second year in a row. But anyways, those are just a few of my thoughts about the whole Chicago street course announcement. So Matthew, what are your thoughts about this whole Chicago street course coming to the schedule starting next year?
Whew, man, what an announcement. Well, to be honest, we weren't really shocked when we were not that shocked when the street course was announced. We kind of knew that this coming in, especially like the past year. It seems like we knew that NASCAR was trying to do a street course, and mainly in Chicago. And then, of course, iRacing developed the actual street course that we have now. But before, it was kind of like a prototype for their iRacing Pro Invitational. And that basically what started this idea, basically. And now it's here a year later. And, man, it's going to be so weird seeing NASCAR Cup Series cars on the streets in the city. Like, we're used to seeing an oval. We're used to seeing on the road course. They raced dirt a lot back then, but on the actual city streets, whew, I mean, if it's weird seeing, the when the drivers do those burnouts for the championship parade in downtown Nashville on the streets, this is basically what it's gonna be like right there. I mean, this is going to be amazing. And I get sick and tired of these people always crying or like, I'm so nervous about the racing product. I'm so nervous about this or that. They say this every time we do something new. They said it about Bristol Dirt last year. They said the same thing about all those road courses they added last year. They said the same thing about the Coliseum this year. And now we're back saying the same thing again when... most of the time, it always works out for the positive. I mean, look at the Coliseum this year. I mean, so many people there. The TV ratings were sky high. Then the Clash the past few years. Bristol Dirt has basically seen a big increase in ratings as well. So most of the time, these new ideas always work out. So I am confident that this will work out, because this isn't about the racing product here. This is about bringing NASCAR to the people that can't really, afford to drive, 5 hours, 6 hours, etc., to a race for a weekend, because to be honest, going to a NASCAR race can be really expensive depending the person to person. Like for me, going to from where I live at, going to Martinsville, it's far away for me, to be honest. So this is definitely a great idea, because Chicago is like, I think, the third largest market in the United States, if I'm correct there. So that means there's gonna be a lot of people there. So you don't have to travel that far to this one. So it's gonna be a great weekend. I mean, I feel like the only reason people are really nervous about the racing product is because they only seen, Formula One or IndyCar do this, but this is a stock car, and racing on street courses in an open wheel car is going to be different than racing on the streets in a stock car, because in open wheel like Formula One, IndyCar on street courses, they have to be really precise at how they pass someone. You only have certain areas to pass because you can't, be bumping a bumper, or you can't, touch, or your day's done. Stock cars are different. You can pretty much be nose to nose, bumping a bumper. You can be side by side, beat and bang in the corner. So I'm confident that we're going to see some good racing, in my opinion. I'm going to be real curious though to see how this really differ, how these cars react differently to a street course than a regular road course. I want to see how different they drive, to be honest, because there's basically no elevation changes like Road America or Circuit America. So there's no, like sidewinders like Sonoma. It's just basically long straightaways, a sharp turn, a long straightaway, then sharp turn. It's a really simple course, which it's fine. I mean, this doesn't need to be, the most complex looking street course for NASCAR's first ever street course. It just needs to be simple, to be honest. So I like they kept that design from iRacing from last year. Now, of course, with this great idea always comes with a sacrifice, and that sacrifice is Road America. I mean, I do love that road course. I mean, I think it's a unique course, especially, with the elevation changes and all. But in my opinion, I'm not really too sad to see it go. I mean, that sounds really controversial, but that's just my opinion. I'm not really that sad about it. I mean, I thought the racing was okay-ish, in my opinion. I mean, the racing was decent, but it's not like we're going to remember those two races for the next 10 years like we've seen other, like Circuit Americas this year, or Sonoma 2016, or even Watkins Glen over the years. So, I mean, I thought the racing was just okay-ish, in my opinion. So, I mean, it sucks because I know a lot of people came there, but, I mean, it is what it is. So, in my opinion, in a perfect world, I would love to see all these tracks only have one day, but that's a controversial topic for another time, because I know there's tracks that deserve 2 days. But if it's up to me, there'll be most of the tracks will only have one day, and we can probably fit Road America in one of those 2 dates for one track. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, I cannot wait for next year. It's gonna be an amazing weekend, and this is gonna be history. I cannot wait to see the history making race here.
Yeah, one thing we should do, like during the off season or something, we should make our own schedule, our own NASCAR schedule. I feel like that would be fun. Pick a few races, a few tracks to do twice, and then a bunch of other tracks. That would be a fun video idea for the future. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop into this weekend's predictions for Pocono. So it's going to be a triple header. 2 races on Saturday, the Truck and Xfinity race. Trucks will be at noon, Xfinity will be at 5:30, and then the Cup race will be on Sunday at 3 o'clock. So, some drivers to watch. There are actually 5 drivers that are currently in the field who have won at Pocono who have not yet won this year. Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher are 2 of those. I wouldn't necessarily say watch out for those 2. Maybe Chris Buescher, but the other 3 that I am going to be watching this week, maybe. But the 3 main drivers that I will be watching from that list are Kevin Harvick, who won there in 2020, Martin Truex Jr., who won there in 2015 and 2018, and Ryan Blaney, who won there in 2017. So those are 3 drivers that could potentially get a win and make that number 15 this year. So I'll be watching those 3 guys this week to see if they can get a win and clinch their spot into the playoffs. I'm also going to be watching Kyle Larson William Byron. Those two Hendrick cars, honestly throw all the Hendrick cars in there because they all ran very good there last year. Alex Bowman, obviously he won with Kyle Larson blowing a tire. But Chase Elliott has also been on a roll this year too, so I'm going to say watch out for those Hendrick Chevrolets, and then also Harvick, Truex, and Blaney, who have not yet won this year, who have won at Pocono. So I know that's a lot of drivers to watch. I can only pick 5 to run in my fantasy lineup, but we'll have to see how practice and qualifying and all of that go. But Matthew, who are some drivers you're going to want to watch this weekend at Pocono?
Well, I can't believe he just let down someone who's pretty much been the best driver in Pocono the last few years. Come on, you missed out, man. Of course, I gotta pick Kyle Busch for this weekend. He's been the best at Pocono these past few years. I gotta remember all his wins. Oh yeah, he's a 4-time Pocono winner. And that first one came from 2017. That's not too far long ago. And he's already got 4 wins now, including the last time we went to Pocono. He won basically on a broken transmission during fuel mileage, which was absolutely impressive. So of course I'm going to be keeping my eye on KFB this weekend. I'm going to keep my eye on William Byron as well, because he ran up front last year at Pocono as well, and I feel like that he needs to start picking it up a little bit, because after that second win at Martinsville, he's kind of disappeared, just like Alex Bowman, but not as terrible as Bowman has been. But I'm going to keep my eye on Byron this weekend to see if he can start getting some more consistent runs in before the playoffs start. I'm going to keep my eye on Bubba Wallace as well. He last weekend was an amazing race. His best race of the season last weekend. Started 4th, up in the top 5 almost all day, finished 3rd. And last year, the last time we went to Pocono, he did finish in the top 5. So can Bubba Wallace keep up with the good momentum he has right now? Also going to keep my eye on Christopher Bell. He just won last weekend, and I'm curious to see if he's able to carry that momentum as well. So that's who I'm going to keep my eye on.
You might as well throw Denny Hamlin in there too, because he's won a lot of Pocono. So you might as well say all the JGR drivers, and I can just say all the Hendrick drivers. So to keep it even, we got 4 and 4. But
I did say a Hendrick driver.
That's fair. You did say a Hendrick driver. Well, I say a Gibbs driver with Truex, but. Anyways, let's go ahead and wrap it up for our predictions part of the video. Matthew, do you have any other thoughts before we go ahead and close it out?
So if I just walk around the street course next year, if I just walking around, does that mean I get to watch the race for free? I don't have to pay no ticket?
That's not a question for me. That's a question for Ben Kennedy, Steve Phelps, and all those guys. I don't know if they'll let you, but yeah, that's gonna be
because that would be worth it just to fly down there. I don't have to pay a ticket. I can just pull up a chair. I can just be strolling through the city. Just pull up a chair on the one of the sides of the street course and just watch from there. I don't have to pay.
You act like the race ticket is the most expensive part of the trip. You have to counter, a flight ticket.
I mean,
a
it's
hotel room.
Hey, you gotta save some money somehow.
A little bit,
especially these plane tickets this year. Whew.
But anyways, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this video. We hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts about the Chicago Street Course down in the comments section down below, along with some drivers who are going to be watching this.
You already know what that reaction's gonna be like. You don't even need to ask.
Some people could be, good, bad, in between. You never know. But
there's a lot of bad on YouTube, that's for sure.
Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Make sure you all check our social media pages for updates and all of that fun stuff. But until next time, we'll see you guys in our next video.